Hi, it's Rob Moore here from Progressive, and I'm with John Philbin. John, this is everyone.
Hi everyone.
Everyone, this is John. So I'm really excited to be sitting on the couch with John today because he's got an amazing story as well. And to be honest, you know, he's a northerner. He was a bit sceptical about it all at first. So John, before you tell us how many properties you bought and all the good things you've done, rewind us back to before property and tell us why you wanted to get involved with Progressive in property, you know, what things you wanted to sort of correct, sort out, what was going wrong first.
I got involved with Progressive because I was looking around for some motivation. I'd been doing business and I'd done some properties the old-fashioned way for quite a number of years. I just needed some motivation. I needed to get I'd become stagnant. I needed a kick up the bum really to get myself started again. And I needed some more information really. I just wanted to broaden my scope and my mind out a little bit.
So you were already in business and you'd bought some properties, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way. You saved up, put your deposit in, next one in a few years' time. You know, very slowly.
Sure.
Although better than most people would do.
Well,
you know, it's better to do something than nothing at all.
And you felt like, so just to get it clear, so you wanted to sort of accelerate your path.
That's absolutely, yeah.
Okay, great. So let's fast forward to now. Okay, so how many properties have you got? What's your portfolio size, first of all?
It's in excess of 2 million.
Equity in it?
About.
Don't worry, no one's going to quote you.
Maybe it's 3/4.
3/4 of it is mortgage and quarter equity.
I would say about 3/4 million equity.
3/4 million?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so pretty good. So what, about 35%? Does that sound about right?
If you say so. If you're the figures, man.
Yeah, okay. Cash flow, is that portfolio cash flow?
Yes, very nicely. I had in excess of 5,000 per month after we've paid the mortgages.
Sure, and has that made a difference in your life, that kind of money?
Yeah, absolutely. I think certainly for me, it gives me the opportunity to choose what I do with my life and how I work. I think most people, most normal working class people, would be quite happy to have an income of that. Never mind.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, and have you been able to? Because I know, I mean, you're a businessman before and you own businesses. Have you, you know, property versus your previous businesses? Just tell us where you're at and what one you spend the most time in and that kind of thing.
Certainly I've got other businesses that I spend far more time in that are not as lucrative as the property. We've discussed before, nothing's passive, but this is pretty much as close to passive as you get.
And are you looking to change that time and put more of it into property?
Absolutely, yeah. I've certainly focused now on my property investing as being my primary source of income.
Sure.
That's now my drive, that's the one.
Sure, and you know we always want to be you know, realistic and honest with people. I know that some of those properties you bought were pre-Progressive. Yeah. So talk about the pre ones and the post ones, and were they any different?
The pre-Progressive were bought in an old-fashioned manner, where if I had enough money for the deposit, then when the market went up and the equity there, you released a little bit of equity, and then I used that to buy the next one, and it was a very, very slow process. However, I still think that's, you know, for most people who are watching this who are thinking they're only just getting started, just go for something, you know.
Sure.
Any kind of movement like that is far in excess of what most of the populace is doing anyway, so that's good. Yeah. But once you realise and you actually sort of twig what's happening, if you can accelerate that, the results are just phenomenal.
Sure. And so when would you say you bought your first property?
1986.
Okay, well, when would you say? You probably know the date. Okay, 1986 when you were a wee lad. And then when did you join the Progressive community?
About 16 to 18 months ago.
Okay, and how many did you buy from 1986 to 2011, and how many from 2011 to mid-2012?
I probably bought, I probably got about 9 when I came to Progressive.
In what, 24 years?
Yeah. And was reasonably.
Don't look old enough,
no,
John.
Well, I'm a granddad as well, you know.
Really?
I am actually. I was quite happy with that, and you know, if I'd have progressed that, and I think that is a reasonable thing for other people to do as well. Since then, I've now got another 6, not all with my money. I've got another 4 that are just getting ready, that are sort of in different stages of completing at the moment. There's 4 going on at the moment.
So in a month from now, would that be 10?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, great. And you said not with all your own money, so just explain that, because obviously the big question for everyone is the whole, how do you do it with other people's money?
The big question is, what do other people want from you? And sometimes it's money, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's experience. And what I've found is that just being in amongst people in the not only the progressive communities but other areas, and the way in which you conduct yourself, or certainly the way in which I've conducted myself, people have approached me and said, I like what you're doing, I'd like to, you know, can I have a bit of that?
Sure. Okay. And you mentioned the progressive community. What difference has the community that we have at Progressive, not just VIPs, but the whole community where we have the networking events and things like that, what difference has that made to you?
Massive. It's I've learned new techniques and strategies for accelerating what I'm doing. I've got access to people through the friendships that I've built up, so that I can get on the phone and say, can I just talk to you about this? Shared positive stories are all wonderful and well and good, and that seems to be the main emphasis. But when you've bought a dog and you say to someone, you know, God, I've just bought a dog, and they say, oh gosh, I remember when I did that one and I had a really, and it's a sort of reverse support network that you're thinking, well, actually I'm not the only one who's made a mistake at some time. So it's that fully supportive, it's a fully supportive environment.
Sure. Okay. There's a lot of people watching this video, and there's a lot of people watching this video are going to be wanting what you've done and what you've got. What would you say to them? Do it.
It's as simple as that. I've seen people both on this, in this community and outside and various other places, and they'll analyse and they'll think and they'll just basically do something. You know, just do something. Go for it.
But what if you're scared? What if you don't have a lot of money? What if, you know, because we all have these same things and thoughts, don't we?
Well, funnily enough, on the train down this morning, I've had a call from a friend of mine who is in that situation, would love to get into property, would like to do the things that I'm doing, and we've just agreed to do a joint venture. So there's some of his money, and the thing he gets from it is my experience. He gets to piggyback on my experience, and that makes him feel more comfortable knowing that I know the things that I know. So he's quite happy with that.
And that works for him. And what about anyone watching who might have those same worries? What would you say to them? Still just do it, or what?
Well, I would say obviously do your due diligence. Don't just buy anything that moves or doesn't. You know.
I mean, you've spent a lot on your training, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
And do you think that's important?
Yeah, it's leverage. I've spent money on my training over the last 2 years. I've spent more before that, but you know, we're talking specifically about the last 18 months. I've spent money specifically on my training in this area, and that's cost me a certain amount of money. You know, and it is thousands of pounds. However, the other training that I took was the 24-year slow track.
Right. Yeah.
Learning by your own mistakes, and that cost me time, it cost me money, it cost me worry, it cost me heartache, it cost me, you know, stress in the family.
Sure.
So I'd go for the quicker option with the little bit of money attached to it if I were anyone else. Okay, great.
What's this done for your life? What does this mean for your life? Because I mean, I know you well, as I do many of the people in the community, but people watching the video don't. You know, I know your wife's a really important part of your life, and I know giving back is. So just share with us kind of why you do this, the bigger picture for John.
It gives me choices, massive choices. I went to view a property last night, and it will not be the most sensible economic decision if I do it, but it's an investment in my family. So there's a potential for me to buy a property that's virtually next door to mine, so that my eldest daughter with the grandkids can live there. And I wouldn't have been able to do that 18 months ago. I wouldn't have had the free money to do that 18 months ago. It gives me the choices to spend the time I want and the quality of time that I want with my family. It just opens up the choices. That's the key. And choices, the greatest things we have as human beings.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say? Do you have a Johnism? What's John world famous for?
Just doing it.
I can vouch for that.
Taking action.
What about for people who are sceptical? Because, you know, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, you know, you're a northern chap, and I think it took me quite a few months to get a smile out of you and all that kind of thing. And that's, I think that it's smart to be sceptical to a point. You don't just want to throw your money around, because that can be awful. But what would you say to people who probably can relate to that, you know, about being sceptical and worried? What would you say?
I would be, if I had looked back on my life and not done any of it, that would have been sadder than taking the actions that I had done. The risk of not living a full life is so much greater than actually taking a few risks and taking some challenges. Do your due diligence. I didn't look. You know, you guys weren't the first people that I looked at when I first came to the market.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence. Have a look around. See who fits. And some people won't fit with your Flash Hardy type style, obviously.
Well, how did we get you to fit with that then?
I had this shirt before you.
Yeah. All right.
But do something. Just do something.
Yeah.
Because that's the saddest bit. If you go through life and you get to the end and you've done nothing, you're risking everything.
Okay. Would you be okay if anyone watching this video could or wanted to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. If you want to check me out as well, I've got my own website. It's john-philbin.com.
Do you want to spell Philbin?
Philbin. So you can check out my story on there as well.
And can they contact you through the website?
They can, yeah. There's, if you want to contact me through my website, I think it's john@john-philbin.com, and that'll come through to me. Quite happy to field any questions you want.
Sure.
No problem at all. Okay. That's one of the nice things about the job I do now. I don't have to work with people I don't like, and I don't have to do things I don't like.
Yeah.
And you know, for me to conduct myself helping other people, it's a wonderful way to live.
Sure.
Right. You know, it sounds a bit Nancy, but it's
well,
nice.
No, but if that's what makes you happy,
it does. It makes
great.
me happy. Yeah, it makes
and
me
you know, just because you're northern doesn't mean you don't have to feel like that.
I've got feeling.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So if you want to get in touch with John, you know, I'm sure you know, more JV partners coming your way. I'm sure you'd be happy with that too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. All right, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.